Happy New Year, guys. You are hanging with the High Towers, and today we are going to be making a Tofurkey ham roast. The adage goes that you have to eat some pork, some greens, and some black-eyed peas and cornbread on New Year's Day, and so that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna have a little different type of pork. If you saw our Christmas video, you saw that we made a no harm roast. It wasn't a big hit with the family, so hoping that this one is going to be liked more by everyone. But just in case it's not, I'm also going to be making one of our favorite dishes over the past couple weeks, and that is our chicken fried mushrooms. So I'm gonna cook that as well, along with some accoutrements to go along with the meal. But we're gonna focus on this and the chicken fried mushrooms. All right, so we've unboxed our ham roast here, and you'll see this is a lot smaller than the no harm roast. The no harm roast was 3 full pounds. This one's only a pound. It's really tiny, so I can use my smallest baking dish, which is nice. So I had to take it out of the oven last night and let it thaw in the fridge for 24 hours. And now I'm just taking the netting off of it, and I preheated the oven to 325. So, as you can see, you've got to cut this off. Pretty easy to do. We had a really hard time getting that netting off of the other roast that we did, the no harm roast. It was pretty difficult. And then you've got to get the plastic wrap off of this as well. So let's go ahead and the next thing that you're going to do is add a 1/4 cup of water, which I have right here. Pour that right over. Then I'm going to cover it, and it's going to go into the oven for 1 hour and 15 minutes. So I'll check back in when this is closer to being done. It does come with a glaze, so I'm gonna put the glaze on it that comes with it, but I'm also going to add my own glaze, if nothing else, so I can have some barbecue pineapples. But all right, I'm gonna get this in the oven. All right, so as I mentioned before, our ham roast came with some amber ale glaze, but I like to make my own glaze for ham. This is what I made for traditional hams, and along with that, I'm going to make some barbecue pineapple, or baked pineapple rather, instead of barbecue, because I'm not going to be able to fit that much on top of that little ham roast. So what I'm doing is pouring some pineapple juice from pineapple slices into a bowl, and then I have some boar's head brown sugar and spice ham glaze, and I'm just going to take some of this and put it in here. I did the same thing for the glaze that I made for the Christmas ham roast, and it was one of the best parts. But you just take this and kind of stir it in together. It doesn't look the best, but it makes a really good glaze for your pineapples and for your ham roast. So we're just gonna keep stirring that in until it thickens up some. You can take You can add some more so that it's a little thicker and it's not so watery if you need to. I also add some of this by itself to the ham roast. I'm gonna taste their glaze and see what it tastes like, so that I have an idea if mixing these flavors together is gonna be any good. But that, as you can see, it's starting to thicken up a little bit. It has a little bit of viscosity, and I'm just going to use that on top of the ham. I'm also, in this dish, going to take a couple of my pineapples and bake them with some of the glaze on top of it, because that is honestly my favorite part of any ham roast that I've ever had, as well as my favorite fruit. So any excuse that I have to eat these. They're also really good grilled. Some of these I'm cutting in half just because this is a kind of shallow dish, and I maybe can add one more in there, and the rest I'm gonna reserve to go on top of that ham roast. So there we go. Add them to your pan like that. Then we're just gonna take some of our glaze, so you can see, and add it on top. And once you have one side of those done, just flip them over, do the same thing to the other side. Can get a little bit more light here. Yeah. And we're just flipping those over really quickly. You can hear my baby boy back there laughing. I'm not sure what he's laughing at, but he's having a good time. This is one of the things that he really likes. He's one of those kids that will taste and try anything, so we're fortunate. My middle child, not so much. He's a very picky eater, and one of my goals this year is to try to figure out what meatless products we can actually get him to try, because he doesn't like any of it. So there, we've got the pineapple done, and we have enough glaze to stick on our ham roast as soon as I pull that out. So I'm gonna grab that out of the oven, and we're gonna go ahead and season that up. Let me make sure the baby's not near me. Here we go. So here it is, and that's how it looks out of the oven. I don't know if you guys can see that nice steam flying off of there, but it's hot. So let's see what their glaze is like. It's pretty runny in the pack, but if I can find my scissors and cut that open. Alright. So let me give this a little taste, and let's see what this is like. It's good. It's sweet. It'll go well with some of the brown sugar glaze. I'm just gonna, I've never done this with a plastic fork. I'm just gonna pour that over. This should go well with it. I should have saved a little bit to go on top of the pineapple, but oh well, we'll see. Sorry that I have like a little mess going on up here. Take some of this and blot a little bit. Make sure there are no dry spots. You see a little dryness. It looks like there's some coriander seeds or something in here. They're kind of big. You can see them hanging out right there. But I'm going to take some pineapples and the ham, and put it on the ham with some toothpicks. This thing is pretty small, so I'm not sure how many pineapples we're actually going to be able to fit on here, but we'll try to get at least 4. I think that'll be a good number. Ooh, do we have one left? I think we have one left. I'll eat that one. There we go. So we've got that. We've got some pineapple juice left. Could use it, pour a little bit over that. I'll use the rest on top of this to make sure that it's nice and juicy. And then we're gonna use our glaze that we made. And you may be able to pour. There we go. There we go. Pour that over. The last thing that I'm gonna do is use this and drop a little bit of this on so that we get a little bit of that crust. Or at least a couple pieces of the pineapple, which will be mine. And I'll make sure they're mine. You can tell I'm not a professional cook by any means. I always find it so funny when I'm trying to cook, trying to make things look like the Food Network, which is one of my favorite channels, because I'm always like, I wonder how many takes it took for them to get that to look like that, because my food certainly never comes out looking like anything from Food Network. Anyway, close enough. We got this thing. Ooh, I forgot that was hot, guys. Oh my God. I'm gonna burn my hands off. Okay, here we go. So this is what it looks like before going into the oven. Back into the oven. So we're gonna slide that back in for another 15 minutes. And we're also going to bake our pineapple for 15 minutes. And while that's cooking, we will go ahead and work on our chicken fried mushrooms. So let me get that all set up and then we'll get those cooking. All right, so for our chicken fried mushrooms, we're starting off with some oyster mushrooms. And I still have to clean these guys up a little bit, but you can see them right there in their natural form. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to separate these and cut off the stems at the bottom and wash them off. So I'm going to go do that and then get the rest of our dish set up. The other things that you're going to need, I've got some chicken seasoning, some paprika, some smoked paprika, I've got some garlic powder, some Sazon for all my Latinx folks out there and beyond, some adobo, and some black pepper. You also can use anything else that you love to use for your fried chicken that you'd use for seasoning that. And then I've also got some rice milk right here. So like I said, I'm gonna get these all washed up and ready to go, and then we'll finish up. All right, so I have some of my mushrooms here that I washed. I didn't use them all. The rest I prepped for our morning omelets. And since it's just probably gonna be me and my husband eating this, and we have other food, I'm not gonna cook them all. But anyway, so I've got a paper bag here, and I am just going to add a couple scoops of flour in there. So just enough. I'm not cooking a ton, so you don't need all the flour. But you put enough in there so that you know that you can coat your mushrooms. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add my spices in. So I don't have any precise measurements for this. I just kind of make sure that it looks well seasoned. And you know, season it to your taste. I don't add as much paprika as some of the other spices, but I like to make sure these are flavorful. My favorite spice for this is, of course, chicken seasoning. I'm gonna add some smoked paprika as well. That gives it good flavor. A little bit of adobo. There we go. And I don't add too much pepper. You all right, bud? And give that a shake and check it out and make sure that it is looking nice and ready to go. All right. And then in a bowl, y'all know I don't want to wash dishes, so that's why I'm using paper bowl. So excuse the ghetto for that, but you know, gotta do it. I'm just gonna add a little bit of seasoning to my milk as well. I'm adding some Sazon and some adobo in there, and maybe a little pinch of pepper. I'm gonna stir that up. It's looking good. Then I'm gonna check out my oil and make sure that it's ready to go. And your next couple of steps, basically, I don't double bread. I bread one time. I make sure that my mushrooms get dipped in my milk, and then they go in here. Because these are small, a lot of times you can find the bigger oyster mushrooms, but this batch was pretty small. I'm going to be careful because I don't want to lose them in the flour. So I'm going to do them a little bit at a time. Dip them in the milk and then in the flour, and then I'm going to give this a shake and throw my first batch into the fryer, and I'll let you guys see what they look like when they come out. Alright guys, now as promised, here are my finished chicken fried mushrooms. They are so delicious. Check that out. These are perfect on a sandwich, as a Chick-fil-A sandwich. See, I call myself trying to be festive, and I use this to drain them after I fry them. I always put them on a tray to drain them, and these were a bit too small for the usual. All right, so here is our finished mushroom. Looks good. Tastes even better. I love putting parsley on it when it's done. The tiny ones, you have to watch out or this will happen. They'll burn a little bit, but still tastes good. Makes perfect Chick-fil-A sandwiches. Put your favorite Chick-fil-A sauce on it, some bread. They come out great. So, since these are done, I'm going to grab our ham and let's see how that turned out. There she goes. It looks really good. I'm going to slice it and we will see exactly how it turned out. Give this a cut. Now I did add a lot of juice to this because I added pineapple juice and the glaze that came with it, so there's a lot of juice kind of swishing around in the bottom, but it should have kept it moist. Let's dip it down in there actually. And this is what a slice looks like. I'm gonna give it a taste. Smells good. Smells like ham with the ale glaze on it. Let's see how it tastes. You guys, it's not bad. It definitely tastes better than the other one we tried. I would actually eat this. I'm excited about having this for dinner tonight. So, yum. I'm gonna eat it with some pineapple. I'm really impressed. There we got some of the pineapple. And these are our finished pineapples. Nice and glazed and sticky. I did throw them under the broiler for just a few minutes to finish them off, but they are ready to go. All right. So, I'm gonna go get the rest of this meal prepared for the family tonight. And thank you for hanging with the High Towers. See you soon.